Hey, it's Jennifer Waugh here, and I am in a beautiful park here in Vancouver, BC. And I am a certified coactive coach, and I specialize in working with women who want to transform pain from their past into more peace and possibility in their life. And I wanted to do a video here for you today about what you may have had some confusion about around stages of loss or stages of grief. You may have heard these stages defined as denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And what I wanted to just share with you is my experience has actually been is that there are no set stages when we are talking about loss and grief. And I think sometimes when we define ourselves and feel like we have to fit ourselves into these stages, that people are looking and waiting and trying to figure out where they're at in this process of stages of grief or loss. And the truth is that we all experience losses and emotions in our life very uniquely and individually. Depending on the loss, depending on the relationship that we have to the person who we've lost, we are going to respond differently. And I'm hearing a plane up above, and planes flying overhead always remind me of my husband, who loved to fly. So I love that I have a plane overhead. Anyways, yeah, it's so we all experience loss differently. And I think that, as far as denial, I don't know if it's so much of denial around loss, but definitely one thing that I find does happen after loss is there is a sense of numbness, whether it be emotionally or physically. There is an initial sense of numbness that occurs, and that can be emotionally, physically. I think I experienced both. And then there's, when they talk about stages, they talk about anger. And not everybody experiences anger when they've had some sort of loss. For me personally, I did experience anger. And one thing I was really grateful for was the process of being able to go through the process of grief recovery, which I now facilitate for other women, was really important for me, because when we internalize anger and we don't have an effective process to release it, then it can be held and stuck inside of us. And so what I found for myself is that being able to go through the process of grief recovery, I was able to transform that anger into peace and love, and be able to be at peace with what was once anger around the loss of my husband. And there's a lot of other experiences that can be common, but not for everybody. Like I said, what's really important is that we honor everybody, that we honor our own uniqueness and individuality and loss, and we don't try to fit ourselves into a particular box. One thing that I find is common is a loss of focus. I've called it widow brain, but you may not be a widow and experiencing loss. But there is, we are so overwhelmed in that process of dealing with the emotions of the loss that sometimes we can experience loss of concentration, loss of memory, loss of focus. That can be common. I found that as I've been able to more effectively process my grief over the years, that my memory has improved. It's still not perfect, but it has improved. And I think those are the main things I wanted to, there's two other things I wanted to point to as well. And that is, our eating can be really affected by loss. Sometimes I know initially when I lost my husband, I had a very difficult time eating, and I had lost a lot of weight initially because I had lost my appetite altogether. And then I began to satiate my emotions with food and more wine than I had drank before, and I was known to eat the odd block of cheese, just like craving something to fill those, to satiate those emotions. And so again, until I was able to process those emotions more effectively, I leaned into food and alcohol often to satiate the emotions. And it can just be like a roller coaster of emotions when we're dealing with any kind of loss. And so things can feel really up and down. And again, my message here, my point that I wanted to make for you today is to honor and embrace your uniqueness and your individuality around loss, and give yourself some grace, be patient with yourself. And I would love to hear your feedback and your comments below. If you'd like to see more videos that I have around grief and loss and being stuck in painful past and in painful experiences from your past, and how to create more peace and possibility in your life, you can like my page if you're on Facebook, or follow my YouTube channel, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a beautiful day.